She walks across her territory with long, confident strides instead of skittering. Like, what is she even doing? Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through Worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
It's time we read 12.1. Wait, what's our arc called?
Plague.
Plague.
Yeah.
It does just sound bad.
It sounds quite
menacing.
Bad.
Yeah.
The chapter was not that bad, though.
No, we've got some seeds of troubles to come.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us what happened in it?
I'd love to.
Excellent.
We open on Bugs doing origami.
Amazing.
Tailor is getting some beetles to fold paper, and Charlotte observes that it's creepy to watch. And Tailor kind of remarks, yeah, I'm kind of used to it. You know, you're saying bugs shouldn't act that way, but I don't really see things that way. And this opens up a whole conversation about moral relativism and, you know, whether or not you can do the wrong things if you have the right reasons. Of course, some things are full stop not okay. They don't really get into it that much. Taylor's like, you'll get used to the bugs over time. And it turns out she's making origami cubes so she can store a fly in the cube, thread some twine through the cube as well, and create little necklace or bracelet type accessories for Sierra and Charlotte to take with them while they are out canvassing Skitter's territory. The fly in a paper box is a signature that Tailor can use to track them really easily, and they can squish the fly if they're ever in a situation that calls for immediate swarm backup response. What Tailor wants them to do is basically go door to door, knock, and see what people need in a way that Tailor can't just intuit using her bugs. And, you know, they're going to stick together. Tailor has a few contingency plans for, like, if they run into trouble. But basically, this is what they're going to do for their morning errands. Tailor mentioned she's going to be compensating them very well for their time, $250 a day. Taylor's also hoping, you know, having these girls out there seeming, you know, reasonable, well put together, clean, that this might attract more recruits. She's kind of hoping that they'll be able to pull more people in. Charlotte and Sierra do decide to go masked, and Tailor has some backup masks because she has been working on a new sewing project. She is making an advanced spider silk costume for herself and most of the other Undersiders. Bitch didn't want to get in on it, but everybody else is going to get a new type of spider suit using the fresh off the boat spider silk from a Darwin spark spider, which is like another order of magnitude stronger than the Black Widow stuff she's been working with. So working on advanced costumes, had a few spare masks that were going to go with Tattletale's costume, so the girls can go out in masks. They take their clipboards and go. Tailor finally is like, oh my god, they're gone. I can be myself for a little bit. She's struggling a little bit because she feels like she has to always be on in front of the girls that she's living with. So she wakes up early, she stays up late, just to make sure that she's putting on her best Skitter face. And she feels like it's taking a little bit out of her. She's also, like, worried, are they just going to go out and turn her in? But they don't. They had recently been staying with their families for a little bit, but they both come back into the fold rather than turning her in, so Skitter's feeling more confident. It's been a few days. We learn again, especially around Charlotte, Tailor is like, I gotta be Skitter. She knows me as Tailor, but I gotta divorce Skitter from Tailor entirely in her mind. She reflects a little bit at how good she is at multitasking these days, and we see some of that in her chapter as she moves around, monitors Sierra and Charlotte, does her bug seamstressing and all of that at the same time. Taylor's been working with one of Coil's people to do kind of triage on her territory. There's like a sewage problem, water in the streets. She's trying to get that resolved in the hopes that that will make things better generally. And Charlotte calls saying, hey, found a family. Their place is infested with rats. but they might actually be trying to leave your territory. And Tailor's like, no, I'll take care of this. She sends a swarm to viciously attack and exterminate hundreds of rats that have infested this family's house. And she takes like 10 minutes to walk over to get to the scene herself. On the way, she gets a text from Grue. Grue's coming over. Tailor kind of wonders, is this a social call? Does he have, something that he wants to talk about in person? He's already on his way. And by the time she shows up, the last of the rats are dying, but she realizes that a man in this group of maybe 8 people who were in this house has been giving Charlotte a hard time and immediately turns on Skitter, sort of saying, you're doing this on purpose. You sent those bugs in, we were getting ready to leave and you're not letting us leave. You're adding bugs on top of rats. You're making this worse. And Tailor shuts him down and was like, no, hold on. And she has a kid in the group do a countdown as she leads hundreds of rat corpses out of the building into the streets, has her bugs kind of like cart them away to dramatically say, hey, you know what? Your rat problem is dealt with. And as long as I'm in charge, you won't have to worry about rats at all. Tailor calls her the mom of the group, does thank Skitter, but also brings up some other issues they've had. They're low on propane. They're not going to be able to really clean things even after, the rats were there. All of their stuff is dirty. And Taylor's like, yeah, actually, they really do need more resources than I gave them. I'm going to have to get more supplies. And she makes a bunch of promises that they're going to get more supplies. She's even going to have a doctor come and visit them. The people express gratitude, but seem wary of her. They're a little worried that Skitter's going to be demanding payment like a loan shark. And feeling like this situation is under control, Skitter goes and meets Grue, who has stumbled upon the scene and has been watching. Tailor kind of complains about how this guy was giving her a hard time, and Grue offers the insight, look, typical wounded masculinity issue here. This guy thought he was in charge, but he failed to protect his family, and now he sees a little girl waltz in to, take care of business. Of course he's going to be threatened. And Taylor's like, okay, maybe should I recruit him? And Brian's like, yeah, maybe in the short term, but he's always going to be trying to win back that, dominance over you because he's not in control. Taylor's like, that's pretty insightful. You say you're not good with people. And he's like, well, but guys, guys are simple. It's girls I don't get. And then he presents kind of like, but like, it seems like the Undersiders are really split along gendered lines. Like me and Alec, we're being really aggressive with our territories. You and Lisa are kind of more on the back foot. You're being like nurturing. Maybe you need to be more aggressive. And Tailor isn't sure she buys the gendered read on it at all. But she does follow up on, what's Brian's worry about them not being aggressive enough? And in particular, he's saying, well, you're taking control of the territory, but you're not well set up to do anything about it. It seems like you're just creating a money pit where you're going to be pouring thousands of dollars into supporting these people, but you're not setting up a protection racket. You're not peddling drugs. Coil's going to expect revenue. And Taylor's like, I don't know. He's rich. I think that me being in control will be like a feather in his cap and he'll like that. And Brian's like, yeah, but you're making it sound easy and it's not going to happen fast. And the mention of speed really gets to Tailor. And she's thinking like, okay, yeah, a good start isn't going to be enough if she's going to impress Coil and get him to give up Dinah. So that kind of gets under her skin and is bothering her. Grue says, look, I wish we could just talk about stuff. I didn't even mean to get into serious stuff. I wish we could have a more fun conversation, but actually I'm here because something has come up. Regent got a visit from one of the Slaughterhouse Nine. So did Coil, though we're not sure what the details are. So did Hookwolf. The PRT office downtown got hit. They are recruiting. Regent is a potential candidate. Maybe Hookwolf is as well. And Hookwolf's calling a meeting. Villain gangs are getting together. We all have to decide if we're going to go. They are worried, it might be a trap. Maybe Hookwolf's setting up a trap so that he can prove himself as a recruit. Maybe the Slaughterhouse Nine will see this as a gathering that they can attack, and so they'd be sitting ducks. On the other hand, they don't want to miss out, and they don't want to take the blow to their rep that might occur if they skip it entirely. And that in particular is what Tailor seems to be worried about. They learn that they're not going to get any more help from Dinah because her power's out of commission. They just have Coil backing them up. And Tailor does lean in and say, we gotta go. Brian says, yeah, I'm a little less gung-ho about it, but it probably makes sense to go with the flow. And the sooner we accept that we're going, the sooner we can plan to make sure our territories are okay in our absence. So let's get going. The meeting is tonight. And that's where the chapter ends.
Yeah, so here's my prediction. I know we always start with predictions and always do them at the beginning and never the end. So I think that the Slaughterhouse Nine will attack this meeting. I think first we'll get the meeting and we'll get sort of everyone deciding, or at least discussing, teaming up to fight the Slaughterhouse Nine. But then we know that Cherish can find them all. Like, Cherish can find people kind of anywhere. And so I do think, like, they will use this as an opportunity to start their trials. I bet this kind of thing happens more often than you'd think. Like, if they're coming into a city and targeting individuals from all the villain gangs.
Yeah.
I bet this is kind of the pattern.
Yeah.
Like, the villains then all get together, like, what are we going to do about this? And they're like, great, let the games begin. Thanks for stepping into our arena.
We also had those anecdotes from Bonesaw and Jack that were kind of similar of like, we showed up and then, there was some like initial parlay and then we immediately started killing people.
Yes, that sounds about right. It'll be interesting to see who shows up. Like, maybe we'll hear from Labyrinth about Burnscar. If people are giving intel, we might get... I'm sure Purity will tell the story. Maybe Thea will be there. Who knows?
It's going to be so fun.
Colin won't be there.
But we have so much more information than Tailor right now. So it's going to be so fun to track. Like, my notes are full of all the little details about, like, okay, so we know that, like, Regent has a squad of Coil soldiers. But Grue didn't say that he's using them as thralls. Like, there is kind of like, he's been taking over rival gang members for sabotage purposes, which is a little different than using it like, oh, we're gonna keep these guys around all of the time, right? So, like, I'm very interested, like, what does Grue know? Like, what does Tailor know?
That's a good question. Does Alex still have Coil soldiers, or did they all die?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was really fun in this chapter just knowing that shoe was going to drop. Like, okay, so the Slaughterhouse Nine are here. Taylor's worried about the people in her territory having, like, clean spaces to live in. I'm like, oh, you're going to have such bigger problems soon.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, they attacked the PRT headquarters. Shadowstalker? She'd be a good recruit, right? Like, they don't know what we know again.
Yeah, they just have, like, no idea.
They do learn that Dinah's power is offline, which I was like, Coil didn't necessarily have to tell them, but that seems like the kind of thing that, like, Tattletale would figure out anyway. So.
Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, they're his allies. It's good for them to know
this. But they do not know, oh, there's this traveler in the vault who...
They don't know about the girl in the vault, no.
Right. Coil is keeping that on the down low. But Grue and Skitter are very curious about it in this chapter, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's something they start to pull on. It's very fun to have that dramatic irony and also to sort of, like, get Grue and Skitter, like, swapping theories and, like, like, they're being very intelligent based on the information that they have. So it's really fun. It's really fun to, like, root for them to figure out stuff that we already know.
Yeah. I'm very curious, will New Wave show up? I mean, Amy isn't really with them right now, but certainly Mark knows that Bonesaw was at their house. Like, he was witness to that entire thing.
Yeah.
And even if Amy is off doing her own despairing thing, then they might show up. Will the Protectorate show up? The wards didn't have anyone targeted, but the Protectorate did. I mean, kinda. Yeah. At least they know about it. This is very enemy of my enemy, I think. Like, it would make sense for them to team up. Like, there was sort of a, not exactly an alliance, but a, like, don't ask, don't tell type of situation with the ABB, but, like, this is a much worse threat. Maybe they would actually be allied, which would be fascinating.
Yeah.
Would love to see that, especially the wards after our friends just fought them.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to the podcast, like, our backlog of episodes, but I'm, like, several arcs behind. So I was just listening to the Sentinel arc. So I'm like, yeah, the wards, I want to see them again.
It would be really fun to have a, like, Arc 5 equivalent, right? That was when we had the villain teams all mixed together.
But now like, with the heroes, would love
let's
that.
do another 2 people from every team fighting the Slaughterhouse Nine. That would be so fun to see.
I mean, talk about your cool combat, your power combos, like... There is so much potential for what Wildbow does so well in having just really creative ways that these people can face off against each other. I really want to see it.
Yeah. And knowing, again, like we've seen how powerful every single one of the Slaughterhouse Nine are.
And I mean, you have to be if you're going to kill all the other people competing for the spot or trying not to die in the competition
of
for
course.
the spot.
But it's like, it's nice. It's also nice because we have gotten that exposition out of the way, right? Like, I'm not sure we're going to be meeting a lot of new capes, but we're going to be getting a lot more, like, combos.
New combos,
and you know, battle stakes that we haven't seen before. Maybe hopefully there's some powers that we'll get, you know, to see expanded on from characters that haven't been in the limelight as much. But we have such a rich bench.
Right. We've already established all
to
of
throw
these
at each other. It's just going to be super fun. Well, predictions aside, how do you feel about Tailor and this chapter? It's kind of nice to be back in her head.
Yeah. I really enjoyed just the procedural nature of it. That's another thing I feel like Wildbow has just really done well this whole time is like the logistical details, just like making it really satisfying to dig into those. I love her tailor shop. Like, she has a set of dressmaker dummies that are
When the word mannequins appeared in the text, I screamed. I was like, you have 5 mannequins? No. But it's okay. Lowercase m's. We're good.
Yep.
We're good.
Yep. I just love this. This is such, like, upscale treatment that she's getting. Coil had people go and measure the other members of her team, except Bitch, who refused, of course, and build custom dressmaker dummies so she can make costumes for them.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. These orb weaver spiders are from Madagascar.
She's just getting the luxury goods
She has a custom
here.
heated terrarium.
Yeah.
So they can get used to the New England weather.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. It really is like we're doing the second chapter of Worm with her basement spider sweatshop again.
Right.
But
this time it's upscale.
It's upscale.
It's the luxury version.
Exactly.
And she's able to do so much more now that she has these materials, she has this time and this space, and she can just have the spiders going and making all the fabric, and she doesn't have to do like a little bit every day kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And it also makes sense that, like, Coil has basically said, like, you'll have all the resources you need. And so Tailor's using them, and she's using them in really cool ways. I'm like, this is why he's like, I want these people with these unique abilities to use my resources to do these cool things. So she's making her entire team, except for Bitch, a custom spider silk outfit that, like, would never be able to be cut by one of Shadowstalker's, like, serrated arrowheads or whatever. And it makes sense that when Grue's like, no, he wants his territories to make money, Tailor's like, what? No. And I do think it's a complicated, nuanced situation, this whole, like, what does Coil want her to do? Is she going to be able to do it in the timeline? Like, I think Grue is oversimplifying it with just this idea of, like, he wants you to make money.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what Coil wants.
Yeah.
Coil's not in it for the ABB methods of, like, no, secure this territory and then make money from it. No, Coil's trying to take over the entire city.
Yeah.
And once he has the entire city, I mean, he can make all the money he wants. Like, this is very much a means to a much bigger end. This isn't like turn these few blocks into a money spinner.
Yeah.
So I think Grue is wrong, but I also think Tailor's plan is stupid, so...
Well, I agree and disagree. I think that maybe Grue is right, but for the wrong reasons.
Okay.
Grue's idea of, like, the only way it makes sense to be a Coil is if you're, you know, just looking to be a crime lord. And I think you and Tailor are right that Coil has a higher opinion of himself, and like that theatrical side of him is the thing that Tailor can successfully appeal to. Yeah. But I think that Coil cares about people being dependent on him. And so the threat of violence that comes with a protection racket, or, you know, external threats that genuinely need protection, or like being addicted to the drugs he's peddling, those are all great ways to sort of keep people in line. And, you know, Coil talks about people in his employ and people who are capes who are working for him and figuring out how to make individuals tick. But I do kind of see Coil, once he's in control, not necessarily caring about making a profit, but about keeping people dependent on what he is doing. I think
you're right, but I don't think drugs or a protection racket are the way that he wants to do that. I mean, he does use drugs in some circumstances. Clearly, he's using that with Dinah. But I think what he wants, and what he wants his villains to do, is to make, like you said, to make people dependent on them. But I think what he wants is what Taylor's trying to do. I don't think she's doing it very well, but he wants everyone in her territory to be loyal to her because they know that she is the one who's going to keep them safe, who's going to get them the things they need. Like, they want her to be in charge because she's the one who'll get them what they need.
Yeah. That is really interesting because I think it brings up for me what I see in this chapter is Tailor the middle manager. Right? Now she doesn't even report to Coil anymore.
Yeah.
Coil's done with Tailor calling him at 5 a.m.
I was thinking about that. I was like, did he really delegate everyone, or did he just delegate Tailor because she's really demanding?
Yeah, but so she's reporting to Mrs. Cranston.
Mrs. Cranston?
Yeah.
It's such a weird, like, did she want to go by Mrs. Cranston?
I don't remember.
Like, what is she,
I feel like there was
teacher?
like a woman in a suit among Coil's minions back in the Coil interlude.
It's so weird to call someone by their last name in that kind of setting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, you're right. It is kind of weird. Yeah, so Tailor now is a skip level away from Coil, and now she has her, you know, underlings that she has to, like, put on appearances toward. And now she has this whole, like, thing where we get to see her, like, when she's with Grue, she can talk openly. She's comfortable. They're peers. She feels a little bad lying to him because she knows about Coil's power and he doesn't, right? Like, that, of course, is so valuable. When she's in front of Sierra and Charlotte, she's constantly thinking, like, okay, well, I'm in charge. Like, I'm the manager. I got to have my collared shirt on all the time. I got to sit up straight, you know.
Can't be friends with the people you manage. Ask a Manager has taught me that well. Exactly.
And she kind of hates it, right? But she's trying to embrace this middle management role. And so maybe we'll have more to say about that later, but connecting it back to your point, from Coil's perspective, if Coil is the executive, you don't actually want a lot of people in your organization to be incredibly loyal to a middle manager. Like, structurally, that is not a good outcome if Coil is, like, running it this way. But so that could be a blind spot for him. Or, you know, maybe it's not quite the right metaphor.
I think it's more like, eventually, once he kind of takes over, it will become clear that Tailor answers to him and that everything she's been giving them is she's doing as a representative of Coil.
But that almost makes me wonder if, again, like, I just keep wanting Tailor to be, like, scheming more than she is. Because, again, we get a lot of beats in this chapter of her being almost irrationally focused on Dinah and impressing Coil, you know, again. But in terms of what she's actually doing, right, every bit of theatrics that she does to impress people and make them loyal to Skitter, if she pulls that off, I'm not sure how transferable that will be to Coil, unless he can also bring, like, the theater and the drama to make it clear.
He controls Skitter, so, I mean, and he knows he'll have her forever.
That's true, yeah, maybe he'll set up a really elaborate kiss the ring scene, you know, and we'll see if Tailor can go through with that.
Yeah. I do want to get back to Tailor doing what I think is not an adequate job at this point. And I think there are two big problems.
Sure.
And one is the sustainability. You talked about how she feels like she has to be on in front of her minions. And she talks about, she's like, I'm not sure if I can keep this up. It's taking a toll on me. And I was kind of like, oh yeah, Taylor's in a new relationship and she feels like she has to, like, do her hair before she comes down to breakfast in the morning. Like,
but it's not just taking a toll on her. It's threatening the Dinah operation.
That's true. And she's also spending a lot of money. She has a lot of money, but as Grue points out, it's not a lot of money for a territory this size. Mm-hmm. And she's spending a lot of Coil's money on supplies, like cleaning up the sewage problem. Like, there are all these huge infrastructure problems that are going to be a huge drain on resources to fix, especially if they're just being fixed for this little area. Mm-hmm. It's like kind of a not very cost-effective way to do it. So there's that question of like, how long can this really go on before it's too hard on Tailor, it's too expensive for Coil? Those are kind of the problems. Or Tailor runs out of her own money from paying too many minions.
Yeah.
There's also Tailor's image problem.
Yes.
The person that she is, and like she says to Grue, she's like, I'm following my instincts here, when they're talking about like the gendered way they're all approaching their territories. What she wants to be to people is a little bit at odds with how incredibly scary she is. So she comes in, she has her minions say, get out of the house or you'll get hurt. She's like, they won't get hurt, but that will make them move. Accurate. They do leave the house. So her minions basically bully the people out of the house. A swarm descends on the house. She has not explained what's going on here. So they're like, wow, we were just going to leave and now we can't even go in and get our possessions, is what the man says to her.
A little bit of a bitch's strategy in her interlude. Interesting.
Right, and Tailor has totally different motives, but she doesn't communicate them.
No.
And she stands there, she's like, if you count down from 100, you won't want to fight me anymore. And then her swarm carries out the corpses of hundreds of dead rats. First of all, so cool. But also, like, then she's like, why isn't this woman more great? Why is her gratitude so subdued? Well, she just saw a swarm of bugs carry out hundreds of dead rats under your control. Like, she's creeped out.
I love this because then later the guy is like just staring at the rats as they cart away. And Taylor's like, what? He's like watching me to make sure I don't slack off at the rat disposal. And then we're like, okay, think about it from his perspective. She says, you won't want to fight me in 100 seconds. And then a bunch of dead rats come by, and he's thinking, oh, she could have killed me. She was threatened. That was a threat to kill me. And he's watching the rats go away, and he's like, that could be me. Like, oh, God. Right?
And, like, I do think Tailor makes it clear. She's like, your house is free of rats now. But the implied threat is not something she's thinking about, like you were just saying. And it's just so incredibly creepy. It's what Charlotte's saying at the beginning. Taylor's watching an origami tutorial. She can do the origami. There's no reason she can't, but she has bugs do it because she can. Like, it's just kind of an automatic thing to her. Charlotte's like, that's really creepy. And Taylor's like, yeah, I kind of stopped noticing that. This is the problem. She's stopped noticing how creepy the bugs are. Yeah. So she's not calculating that in. Yeah. Like, no one's going to be like, oh, thank you, benevolent hero, who just used a swarm of bugs to cart out hundreds of dead rats.
Yeah. And a couple other moments, right? She hears in the woman's explanation, oh, they needed measuring cups. So when she's listing out the additional supplies they'll get, she says, and measuring cups. And she says, I smiled behind the mask, which is such a great encapsulation of the point you just made. Of like, do we really think Taylor's communicating only with the tone of her voice that she's smiling? Or is this just sort of like falling on deaf ears here?
Right. And if she's in her creepy bug costume smiling about measuring cups, like, no wonder the woman's like, is she trying to extort us in some sort of like loan shark situation?
And Taylor's like, like, I'm not that. But then she says, don't worry, it's on the house, which comes across as like a threat that later they will be asked to pay, right?
Exactly.
It's not at all clear.
Yeah. She is not good at this. Mm-hmm. Like, she doesn't know how to create the image she wants. And she's like noticing the gaps, but she doesn't know how to shift her strategy.
Yeah.
Like, she has succeeded in some ways at being a showman. Like, she was very scary that first day. But again, she's just not correctly gauging the psychological impact that her incredible terrifyingness is having on people. And she just isn't the kind of person who's wielding that correctly. Mm-hmm. Like, if you had, like, Kaiser here, he would have terrified everyone. And then he would have done some sort of like old boy charm to like make you think like, I could kill you, but like I'm your buddy or whatever. Like he would have pulled that off because he would have wanted everyone to be terrified of him.
It's part of the playbook.
Right. And she is just an incredibly earnest person. And she wants people to be grateful for the help that she's giving them. She really wants these people to get this help.
Yeah.
In part because it's part of her plan, but also she's like, this is a thing that she likes to do. This is a thing she wants to happen. She wants this territory to be in order. She wants the people to be safe and healthy and well cared for. And she wants them to see that. And when she does things to help them, she wants them to be grateful. And she's an incredibly creepy bug girl. Like, it's just the wrong vibe for what she has to offer and the response that she wants.
Yeah.
And so her actions are aiming for that response and being incredibly terrifying at the same time. And it just doesn't work.
And it's so ironic. She thinks so clearly in this chapter, Charlotte's staying with me, partly out of fear, partly out of obligation, but I've got to make sure that Skitter is divorced from that pathetic, helpless Tailor that she really knows. And as someone who knows Tailor, the part of her that Sierra trusted with this mission was Tailor, right? I think that bleeding, bedraggled girl they saw in the hospital is just as likely to have been something that was like disarming or like seeing the human side, seeing the Tailor inside Skitter actually,
I'm sure that helped,
could play to her advantage with her minions. And so every time, I guess what I'm saying is the idea of wanting to be a more Skitter seems like it's even like you're saying the earnestness of Tailor could be a strength. And it's ironic that she is so upset by like just Charlotte calling back to that awful part of her life that she has to kind of throw the Tailor out with the Tailor water.
The shower water from the shower she took too early this morning because she was trying to seem all put together.
Thank you for saving my terrible analogy.
I think there is an interesting question here that you're getting at of like, what image would work for her? And I think maybe you're right. I think being less Skitter would really work in her favor. She does, like, she is wrong when she thinks, like, I have to be fully put together all the time. Like, I mean, this is a 15-year-old kid. Like, she does not understand. Like, I mean, I don't know that I would gauge it correctly either if I were in her shoes, but like, she feels insecure. So she's like, I have to have this like all totally together. But like you said, that's not what makes people like you. Seeing the vulnerable side, seeing that like, oh, she's human and she can be hurt too. And
Grue even says to her at the end, to think that I used to like when you were super hardcore about, villainy, right? Like, to me, that says the thing that he has come to really like about her is not her most skittery Skitter.
Yeah, no, her most skittery Skitter is, it's not really who she is, and it's not going to win people over unless she went about a very different type of control than she's actually aiming for. Yeah.
I will say, though, she's very good at being Skitter. Right?
That is true.
Her demonstration at the beginning of the last arc was a very effective performance as Skitter.
Right. So she could do that, but she also wants to be the person who gets measuring cups for these people and has them be grateful to her. And that doesn't really work. Yeah. Or at least she'd need to do a different sort of performance, an additional aspect of the performance to make that work. And she isn't registering that. Right.
I also was like, it was just a few days ago that Charlotte hugged her and said thank you. And she thought, no one's ever thanked me before. And she's already like, I kind of expect a thank you here. Could it be a
less subdued thank you?
Could it be a little more enthusiastic?
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a sign that she's changing. It's an interesting thing to follow.
Yeah. But I mean, I think she's right to be concerned, to expect a certain level of gratitude for like, oh, I solved your problem. You don't have to move. You can live in this house still. Yeah. And they're like, oh, thanks. Like, she's like, oh, there's something wrong with the way that I gave this to them.
I also think there's something in her sense of urgency, right? The thing that really gets under her skin with the conversation with Brian at the end is when he's like, it's not going to be fast. It's going to
take a while.
She's like, not fast? Oh no. Right? Like, what she's going to take from that...
She's not wrong. She needs to save Dinah. It's just that this is a stupid plan.
What she's going to take from that, though, is like, I have to go bigger, faster. Right? I have to take more risks. I have to bet not $1 million and win. I have to bet $1 billion and win. Right? Like, which is very alarming to me. But I also see it in the way that she is like solving problems she's already solved. Maybe whether or not the solutions are best. Because we see her being procedurally very effective, where she's like, okay, yeah, I've got my rubber latex socks because I'm going to be going out in the water, and we're setting up this amazing system with the fly on your wrist, and you guys will go... The fly
necklaces were so cool.
So cool. You guys will go together, and I have a series of signals for you, and, she's setting up all of this stuff.
We need worm merch, where we make little origami boxes and then put little, rubber flies in them and put them on necklaces.
Yes.
Does this exist? Is there a worm merch store? Can I have a fly necklace, like a Tailor minion? A Skitter minion?
I mean, we really, let's do it. This will be our, when we sell out and have a Patreon, we can set up a merch store.
It's going to take us so long to do all that origami because we don't have any bugs.
Well, if we charge people enough, we can get bugs to do it. Is that true?
Not unless Tailor has turned commercial. Like Brian was saying, she's an exterminator now.
No, we'll have to rescue Dinah first.
Yeah. I mean, one of the problems with Taylor's plan is just that there are a lot of people in her territory, even though it's small, it's still a lot of people. They all have so many needs. Yeah. And she can't use an enormous swarm to fix, she's just chipping away at this enormous block of granite.
Yeah. And
like Brian said, it's going to take a while.
And she's very aware on some level about triage because she thinks, I'm working with Mrs. Cranston to solve the sewage and water main drainage problem.
Those two big problems will solve.
She very well articulates, once we solve the big stuff, then we can get to the small stuff. But that is so different from the Tailor who says, I am not leaving until we rescue that girl there. Right.
Yeah,
those are very different sides of her. And stepping into her management role, she of course understands the necessity of triage, but it's in conflict with...
She still wants to be an individual contributor.
Exactly.
She wants to save that girl over there. She wants to save this one family that has too many rats.
She can be a more effective individual contributor because of her agentic bug swarm that she can deploy to like our new set of AI tools. You can just send them off on little commands and just check in every once in a while, being like, oh, okay, you guys are doing well.
They need a competent supervisor. Yeah.
There were a couple of passages that really sounded like they were somebody describing their Claude Code setup, which was very, very funny to me. Anyway, I do want to circle back to the point I was making, though, about the solutions she's bringing. When Charlotte calls and is like, this family's here, she's like, yeah, get them out of the house and threaten them if you have to, right? That's the thing that she did with the spiders at the bank job. And she's like, she just knows, it's okay if I threaten people as long as I'm bluffing, right?
Yeah.
As long as I'm bluffing, I can do this threat. She just goes to it. And then with the guy, that thing well, you can fight me if I don't prove myself to you. That's what she said on her dog date with Bitch. Basically, look, give me a chance, and if I have let you down, then you can punch me. This is the same solution. It makes sense that she is going to it again because she's pattern matching here, right? But it's not, like we were saying, it's not necessarily the right tool for the job.
But it does feel very, resonant to me. She knows how earnest she is. I keep going back to myself playing Mafia. We're when I'm not Mafia, I know I'm not Mafia. Shouldn't everyone be able to tell?
Yeah.
And I think Tailor feels like that. She feels like she just is so earnest that she feels like if people observe her enough, they should know that.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, I probably don't need to talk again about how stupid Taylor's plan is with Dinah. She's not wrong to feel the urgency of it, but the plan that she has created to address that very urgent situation is not a quick plan.
It just feels very underpants gnomes, right? She's kind of be the best Coil minion.
Uh-huh.
Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Dinah is free. Right? Like, that seems like I'm just waiting for her to give me something to slot into that second bit.
Yeah.
And I'm very open to the idea that she's just kind of in a constant state of panic and denial about like that second step not being there.
I mean, she needs to actually rescue Dinah.
Yeah.
She needs to team up with Sundancer and Dragon, who she doesn't know would be her allies, so I'm not sure how this will happen, but it needs to happen.
Yeah. Also, since Dragon died that one time they got along, I'm not even sure Dragon knows they're potential allies.
Right, but Dragon is like cracking this mystery. She's on it. She's going to figure it out. True. Yeah, maybe Dragon will help them fight the Slaughterhouse Nine, and that will bring her and Tailor together. I bet when all of the villains in town get together, then, well, Dragon's really distracted by trying to heal the love of her life. So,
it could have only been, a day or two. We don't know. I feel like the timeline, this feels all very new, but like, it seems like maybe it all wasn't one night. It was kind of over the course of 2 days.
Maybe,
based on
right, because we said like Tuesday someone was attacked. Yeah.
So I suspect that Colin is being operated on in this chapter, but is he going to wake up tomorrow, the next day? Miss Militia could be very prompt in terms of flower delivery. So who knows? Dragon might not be available today, but maybe soon. Also, she can be in multiple places at once.
No, that is true. Yeah, she's looking for Tailor. I think she might find her if all the villains get together, so maybe we'll get something there.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see what happens next. This was a really good, lead-up chapter. All the procedural stuff is stuff that can absolutely be paused. There's nothing urgent there. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's urgent for a lot of families, but...
And it's also really good writing in that, it's oh, now we have been informed Tailor is in the middle of making super suits for her team.
Yeah.
We don't really need any more than that.
They can just show up in super suits a few...
Exactly. Give Tailor another,
scenes from now.
Couple of days off screen or whatever, and I fully expect it to be there. And so, it's really nice to get all these little details so that you can just yada yada to the good stuff.
Yes, that's a really good point. This is sort of a higher octane version of those early chapters in the arcs back when she was, infiltrating the Undersiders, where they would just, go shopping together or whatever.
Yeah.
I love that we got it made explicit that, she's really good at multitasking now.
Yeah, what did you make of that?
It is absolutely part of her power.
Yeah, I love that her intuition cuts the other way. I think I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, the ability to control, millions, potentially, of individual insects, that is just not something that normal people can do.
And she's never hit a limit. She hasn't had anything Dinah's limit, Tattletale's limit.
It is possible that there is some element of practice, controlling so many bugs for so long, has resulted in her being able to split her attention better than, I know my friend Jane, who worked as a professional chef, said there was a real learning process in figuring out how to time dishes and prep steps so that everything would be ready at the same time. There was a way of thinking that she couldn't do at the start, and she taught her brain to do that.
Yeah.
So, there is some element of that potentially, but her power absolutely changed that aspect of her because a normal brain cannot handle the quantity of things that she controls.
Oh, yeah. Going back to the extended cognition thing or even the AI analogy, right? It's it's a different way of thinking and taking on that sort of orchestration role, that management administrative role of I just got to kind of make sure the system is humming smoothly. Mm-hmm. It is a slightly different way of thinking. But of course, it's the same way you're sort of oh, why is she having the bugs do origami? She could do the origami, right? It's well, why do we have a remote control? We could get up and turn on the TV, right? It's kind of the same, right? Once you get used to the tools, you just have, or why are you sitting down at your desktop computer to buy plane tickets? You could just do that on your phone. You do everything on your phone. Right?
You're just calling out the millennials. Ted, we don't have a working remote control.
Yep, toddler problems.
I want to talk about the gender thing a little bit.
Yes. Oh my God. Brian's whole angle here.
So Brian's you and Lisa are taking this sort of more nurturing approach where Regent and I are being more aggressive. And Taylor's I think that's about the nature of our powers. I don't know that it is. Tailor does have a potentially very aggressive power, more so than Brian does naturally. I do think it probably does have something to do with gender and socialization, but like Tailor thinks in her thoughts like, bitch doesn't fit the pattern, but of course like she's I was like, that's the point. Like the pattern does not hold. Yeah. Maybe there is a trend. Yeah. But
look, I'm all about gender readings. Brian does have some insight here into the wounded masculinity of the patriarch in this house. But I think this is a bad take. I can't get behind it.
Yeah. I mean, especially I feel like with Lisa, it actually, like, what she's doing makes so much more sense than an aggressive approach.
It reminded me of our early, maybe Arc 2 discussion about whether Powers and Worm would follow gendered tropes, right? Like, it's a valid question to ask, absolutely.
I mean, Tailor did do an aggressive attack on the merchants who invaded her territory. Like, it seems like there aren't any rival gangs in her territory right now, and that's why she doesn't have to fight them. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't quite seem to map on.
So, what do you think's going on with Grue in this scene?
I mean, I think he's worried about Tailor, that he's seeing her try to do this really big task and is like, uh-oh, I don't think this is going to work out the way she wants it to.
Yeah.
I wonder if he also is feeling insecure about the fact that he's not helping any of the people in his territory.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not cleaning things up the way she seems to be. I don't know.
You know, like a guy who wants to be seen as a leader, who wants to kind of like be in control of the situation, and then some little girl comes in and does it better than him.
You think maybe there's a little identification there?
Close to home. And like, the thing is, like, I can't believe he wouldn't be self-aware about it. But, you know, when he sees what Skitter is doing, and he knows who Skitter is, and he says, it worries me that you're not being more aggressive. Like, that's the kind of, like, nitpicking that he's saying that this guy is going to do if Tailor takes her under her wing. And, you know, I do think there's an element of Brian being a little threatened by, you know, this version of Tailor.
Yeah.
I also read it a little bit as negging. That he's just a little bit like, you know, seeing the opportunity for like, oh God, she's doing so well and just kind of like asserting this high status thing. And whether he's doing it super intentionally or not, by like nitpicking, right. You know.
Maybe I was taken in too much by his concerns about the situation.
Right. And like we were saying, he doesn't necessarily have the best read on Coil, and he happens to push Tailor's button about not going too fast. So she's just thinking about that. She's not really thinking about where he's coming from in this scene. And I also think, like, the way he ends it, I'm sorry if I'm being hard on you. And he you know, puts his hand on her shoulder. You know, I really did want to come by and talk about less serious things. Right. I feel like there's a little bit of a power play here. And again, I don't know, I don't see Brian as super manipulative, so I think he's doing it instinctually. And I don't really see him as doing any of this intentionally, but I do feel a little bit like he's got to be somewhat self-aware about the projection thing, that like when he sees this guy and it's like, this is a man whose masculinity has been hurt in some way. That, like, how could he not see himself in that? You know, like I wish I had a little bit more self-awareness from him, but he might just be that much, you know, in his head. I am
curious, like, it seems like Grue and Imp have had a lot more rival gangs to attack in their territory than Tailor has. Did they get unlucky with how many rival gangs already had a foothold there? Or is it just that when Tailor attacked with huge swarms of bugs and used them to light people on fire, it drove people away much more successfully?
Right.
She has... Of the three, Regent, Grue, and Skitter, like, she has the best offensive power.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, I don't know, like, reducing her to nurturing. I can only read that as there's a little bit of something in Brian's gender essentialism. Like, this is probably just something that he's carrying a little bit.
Yeah.
That he almost sees an opportunity in, like, oh, Tailor's kind of flailing at winning over these people. He's observing this from a distance. And he fills in the gaps of, like, you know, based on his insecurity and what he's thinking is like, okay, well, it's because she's doing this in a girl way. And that's not as effective as doing it in a boring way.
Yeah.
But, like, he should listen to the first half of this episode for a better insight as to why Taylor's not being effective in the situation.
Should we talk about Charlotte and Sierra?
Please.
I feel like we didn't get a ton in depth on them this chapter. I feel like this is the kind of thing where you probably did pick up on some fun clues. Both of them wanting to go out in masks is really fun. Like, I mean, Sierra's like, why bother? My hair is so distinctive. Fair. But, like...
Wild for Charlotte to say, I don't want to go out in masks, so what if somebody recognizes me and I have to explain it? When that's what she did to Tailor, like, a few days ago. And why would you want to remind Skitter about that? It's a crazy thing to say, Charlotte.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. She knows the danger.
Yeah.
Neither of them is really comfortable with their role working for a supervillain and wants to be really open about it. Makes sense. Yeah.
And it's so funny that Taylor's instinct is like, oh, okay, like, it wouldn't be fair. Like, of course you guys get a costume too. But she's immediately like, this should be my civilian workforce.
Yeah.
Their secret identities don't matter.
I do like her thing where she's like, I don't like Coil's methods at all, but I do think it's good that he, like, makes his people feel valued.
Right, yeah. She's like, I can't stand Coil because of his methods, right? Again, it's nothing about,
And yet she doesn't think it's any problem to work for him forever as long as he releases Dinah.
Exactly.
Dragon, help this girl out. Yeah, I don't know if I have anything more particularly to say about the two of them. It'll be fun to continue watching them, but we didn't get a lot in detail this time around.
Charlotte was definitely, like, more of the active one. Mm-hmm. That was, like, the main thing that I noticed.
Yeah.
Despite being younger.
I mean, probably Charlotte having known of Tailor in her civilian form makes her feel a little more familiar.
For sure. Oh, this is totally random, but Skitter is going to send a doctor around and says, like, oh, we'll do inoculations, right? Mm-hmm. And I was just immediately like, I would love to see, like, Worm 2021, where Skitter has to deal with an anti-vaxxer in her territory, where she's like libertarian queen, and then she's like, but I don't understand. The rats have been biting you. Like, you need this.
At least against rabies. Like, okay, well, come on.
She's like, okay, well, could I just have bees deliver the vaccine so that people don't know?
She would figure that out. She would do that. I want to see that.
I did really enjoy, shout out to my smug bugs, when she's thinking about the collection of masks that she's been making for Tattletale. She spends a lot of time thinking about Lisa's face shape, the way her old mask fit her. It hit her freckles and eyebrows and changed the apparent angles of her eyes and cheekbones. So her entire face had a different look to it. Nice procedural detail, but just throwing it out there.
You're seeing some smug bug here. I do really love that aspect of Lisa's mask. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
A good reminder that separating those identities and keeping both of them around is something that Lisa finds valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Though, of course, we know that she has also shunted aside her Sarah persona.
True. True.
So, she would probably understand Tailor wanting to get rid of her Tailor persona.
Except that she's tailoring now. She has 5
that's
dressmaker's
true.
Dummies.
And she walks across her territory with long, confident strides instead of skittering. Like, what is she even doing? There were some good comedic beats mined out of her obliviousness.
Yeah.
Or, kind of the way she conducts herself, right? There's the procedural detail of, like, oh, my phone's ringing. I know it's Charlotte because she just, raised the phone up. But, like, I don't literally know it. Like, I'm not psychic. It's just that...
Someone else could have called me at the exact moment Charlotte lifted her phone to her ear.
Right. And then she says, hi, Charlotte. And then Charlotte's like, what? Huh? Like, how do you know it was me?
Okay, but also, like, these are cell phones. Of course she knows it was her.
Okay, fair. But, it's still
I was
funny.
like, this is something that could only happen in the early days of cell phones.
Yeah. And presumably, like, the Submerg killed Steve Jobs before the iPhone was created or something. Like, we don't know. We just don't know. So smartphones have been mentioned, but...
Oh, okay. I was going to say, we haven't...
I
don't know how much smartphone we've seen.
And then when she arrives on the scene, she sneaks up behind people and just says, it'll just be a minute or two. And everyone goes, Skitter came out of nowhere. And then when she's bringing the rats out, she times it so that it comes out in, like, the last few seconds. But she has to cheat. She's stuffing dead rats into the walls where no one will find them. I just love that.
Also, fills in the steps of the stairs with bugs so the rats can just surf down the staircase. Incredible.
It's really good. It's really, really, really good.
Man,
Very
someone
funny.
should give Wildbow a superpower and just let him go, because he would come up with so many great applications of it. I mean, maybe
know.
they did, and that's why
I
he's
know.
managed to write all these things.
Yeah. I had a couple of more points about, like, Tailor as a leader, right? Like, I feel like her strengths are her generosity, her reasonableness, right? She's fair about the masks. She's giving people a couple of days to come to the door. You know, she's not forcing confrontation, right? She is sort of, like, pretty self-aware and reasonable. I guess maybe in terms of the administrative part, it's just that, like, face-to-face part where she's really struggling to see how she's perceived. But also the total surveillance piece of it, she's very blasé about. And, like,
That's true.
She's kind of like, oh, in my territory, you won't have to worry about bugs anymore, you know, in terms of, like, bugs stinging you. But there are always going to be bugs on you. Like, she's constantly getting bugs to, like, figure stuff out. And
It's the thing again, where she has just become so used to this that she's forgotten how creepy it is to people.
Yeah. I also thought it was interesting, she's really embraced, as part of her new middle management thing, she's really embraced the, like, effective altruist lifestyle. Like, she's not spending any of her money on herself. She's investing all of it back in her community, right? So she's basically, like, living on the couch, you know, with roommates or whatever, and investing all of her money in, like, helping out. And
those are her ill-gotten gains.
yeah, and she laments, she wishes she were free to be dirty like bitch.
Yeah.
Right? She
that's
talks
such a
about
good
wanting to collapse in a
point.
sweaty heap, and she can't do that anymore.
She and bitch need to be friends again.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that bitch is refusing a spider silk costume after their
Really
sweet
bad.
jacket moment
Really bad sign.
makes me super sad.
Yeah. How long until they find out she's been recruited by the Slaughterhouse Nine?
Yeah. And, like, you know, she acknowledges she's really paranoid that they're going to turn her in. She's content to be anxious about it instead of truly coercing Sierra and Charlotte. Like, it's not like she was, like, stalking them and had, like, contingency plans, right? It's like she was leaving herself a little bit vulnerable here. And then, you know, like, she thinks, I didn't want them imagining me as hurt and mortal when they were supposed to trust me and look up to me. Right, so
Taylor, you do not understand how this works.
well, but it's so interesting. Trust me and look up to me, right? Is it a real attribution error where she's, like, kind of confusing them for found family and not employees? Or is it really just her leadership style, where she kind of has the leadership style of, like, I would never ask my employee to do something that I would not. You know, like, of course, my salary is going to be, like, equitable with everybody else, right? Like, and, like, I think that is a potentially effective leadership style and an authentic one for her, but I worry a little bit about her being like, they need to look up to me. As, like,
Well,
that's not what's going on here,
She's a
Taylor.
supervillain.
Yeah.
She's not a superhero.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to look up to a supervillain. Like, she doesn't want to be a supervillain. Like, she is trying to be a superhero in a supervillain's costume, and
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of where her problems are coming from.
Yeah.
Like, if she were a member of the wards coming in here to hold this territory, everyone would be primed to worship her.
Yeah.
And everyone right now is primed to be terrified of her and, like, suspect her motives, and she's not really taking that into account.
Yeah. I'm just getting annoyed at Brian again. Because, like, the fact that she wants people to look up to her, it's not because she's a woman, right? Like, Theo also wants to be a superhero.
That's so true.
Right? And, like, Lisa is not nurturing. She's, like, Ms. Cops and
Mr.
Robbers.
Fizz, yeah.
Right? Like, she's the one who's like, yeah, whatever. You know,
Right,
she looks
right.
out for her people, right? She came up in the docks and
Yeah,
wants to look
yeah.
out for those people. But, yeah, it's funny. Oh, yeah, and also just, like, dealing with people who are annoying and mean to you, even though you are doing public works. That's just
Normal.
being the government,
Yeah.
right? Like, this is part of the role, like her
Yeah,
civic
that's a
role,
good
right? Like, you
point,
don't
yeah.
expect gratitude. You do it because you care about you
Right.
know, people being free to kind of be shitty to you all the time, right? Like, you know, like it really is.
She's a civil servant now and she doesn't get it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's also very, like, teenager, you know, like, I get it to some extent, but, like, if she wants to embrace her civic role, she wants to be the mayor of Skitterland, then she has to
then
accept dissenting voices.
They're going to be upset every time she does something wrong and take it for granted every time she does something right. Yeah.
I want to see like that Parks and Rec, like scene where everybody's coming to the microphone in front of Skitter and like complaining about the crazy stuff that's happened, and she just has to be like, okay, next.
Look, everything I've done here is value added, so get over yourselves.
My favorite sentence, or the sentence I had the strongest reaction to in this chapter was, "The rats died at the hands of my bugs, thoroughly poisoned or envenomed, or even eaten alive by the ones that bit repeatedly and didn't even bother to chew or swallow the flesh." Jesus Christ, Tailor. I did want to just circle back to her opening conversation with Charlotte. We've touched on it a few times, but right, Charlotte says bugs acting organized and human is creepy, and Taylor's response
takes it to this like whole philosophical level.
Right, but what's fascinating to me about the way this is written is that we are clearly getting Taylor's real feelings about it and then a justification. And this is something that Taylor's really good at, but she's a little distracted. And she's like, oh, creepy, I'm used to them. I don't really think about it. And Charlotte says, bugs shouldn't act that way. I don't really believe in thinking that way anymore, I said absently.
Uh-huh.
Right, and so then she takes it to this level of like, oh, yeah, like, I don't believe in shouldn't. There's always going to be extenuating circumstances, right? Things that we assume are wrong become excusable. But, some things like rape, never excusable. But, give it time, you'll get used to the bugs, right? So she takes it on this whole journey that's not really responsive to, like, the point that you're making, which is the bugs are they're objectively creepy, right? Like she's wrong about this. Like, the abstract notion of what bugs should and shouldn't be able to do is not what Charlotte is talking about here. But what I'm really interested in is, like, her acknowledgement here, again, that she's changing. Bugs shouldn't act that way. I don't really believe in thinking that way anymore, I said absently.
Huge change.
And I think we have not seen Tailor grapple directly with that I am a supervillain that she wrote out. The shame and guilt that she has felt about returning to Danny. There's a little brief mention where she's like, oh no, I wondered if Danny was doing as badly as these people. Okay, I'm going to get these people more supplies, right? So this here is a sign of those tectonic plates shifting for her. Yeah. Where I think how she is making peace with her identity is, there's something in this, like, I had extenuating circumstances, right?
Yeah. She is becoming more, I guess, relativistic.
Right. She's been able to, over time, right? With time, you get used to stuff. Add a little asterisk next to that supervillain. Right. Rather than doing what I was encouraging Amy to do last chapter of saying, like, so what? You're bad. You're a supervillain. Mm-hmm. Now what are you going to do if you want to be better? Right? And I think what I'm seeing from Tailor here is a little bit of, like, supervillain, but what is a supervillain? Which is, like, a little bit...
I'm not sure I agree with your characterization of that. Like, I think to some extent, this is born out of her disillusionment with the heroes. Yeah. Like, her sense of, like, okay, well, the rules that I've always assumed were fixed are actually much more fluid. I can maybe do more good by being a supervillain than by being a superhero. And, I mean, I do think there's also a justification of, like, the thing where she's apparently going to serve Coil for the rest of her life. But I don't think she's let go of the idea that she needs to do good. She's just like, oh, the categories that I've been taught are actually false. Like, the heroes have done some of the worst things I've seen.
Yeah. I mean, you have a more optimistic take on it, and I don't necessarily think that I'm right. Because it's very off-screen for her, right? This is sort of like what's going on under the surface with Tailor. I was also noting just, like, I do wonder just the way this was written, right? One chunk at a time. We're back in Taylor's head, but in these first couple pages, there are echoes of Amy and of Bonesaw, right? We do get the textual, like, oh, are you going to be relativistic about rape? Thematic to the last chapter. And Taylor's like, nope, some things are never excusable.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yes.
And the Bonesaw bit is like, Well, a lot of things we normally assume are wrong become excusable. I'm just imagining Bonesaw being like, but I couldn't do all this stuff if I cared about right and wrong.
Exactly.
Right? And of course, I'm not trying to make it as simple as like, well, Tailor's Bonesaw now, right? Like, of course. And I see the pro-social, moral argument for being more relaxed about her categories, right? Like, she's not as naive as she once was.
Right.
But I think where my trepidation comes from is just because we haven't seen her directly deal with it. The fact that there's something she's avoiding here, right? Like, I think she would be less able to comfortably make the Jenny version of the argument herself. Because I think she's still struggling with it. And I think that's all we've got.
All right. Well, I've already made some predictions.
Plague 12.2 starts, I'd spent nearly 16 years in
Brockton Bay, but I'd never been to this place where I'm meeting all these villains.
Yeah, well, what place, specifically, what type of place is she that she has never been before?
She's never been on a boat. That doesn't seem likely.
You got it. You got it in one.
Yes!
I couldn't remember ever being on a boat.
That's so weird.
What? Why did you think of that? That's so crazy, Jenny.
I'm psychic. What can I say?
Oh, no.
I just had my trigger event.
Oh, no. You're the Simurg. That's not my type. Just putting that out there.
Wow. All right. Well, relationship over, I guess.
All right. Next time, we'll find out Tailor's on a boat. Can we do on a boat meme? That also dates us, right?
I mean,
like early Lonely Island.
15 years ago, at least.
Yeah. God. Okay.
All right. Next time with our nautical-themed Pashmina Afghans on Inchworm.
On Inchworm. Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildvote. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.